This is a 2012 Buick Enclave, I believe. I think Enclave, Traverse, all the same thing. Been replacing motor mounts and had to replace this one on the side. Turned out, so there's three motor mounts. There's the torque arm that is up here on top of the motor underneath the fuse box. So the torque arm, where'd it go? Goes between here and here. The front motor mount is under the front here, and it bolts through there. So you can see that's the barrel of the motor mount there, and it bolts through the subframe through there. And then the rear motor mount sits in this wheel well, sits on the subframe here and bolts to this bracket here. I've already pulled it out. I was hearing a thumping every time I'd hit the gas, and I figured it was the motor jumping around. So when I pulled the motor mount out, the bottom stud is completely gone. So motor mount, engine, everything, when the torque would hit, would jump up and slam down on the subframe. So to pull it out, it was a fairly easy process if you're willing to do a little extra work on the front end. You don't have to do a bunch of prying and pulling and everything. If you'll come up here, pull the fuse box up. The fuse box sits on this bracket. You pull that bracket out. That bracket bolts to the frame back here somewhere, and then two studs here. If you pull the fuse box out, remove the torque arm so the motor can lift, then go to the front, just loosen the bottom bolt of the motor mount all the way so that it can raise up, but you don't want it to come out of the hole, so leave the nut on the end of the stud. Then I came under here and put a floor jack underneath the motor so that the block of wood is on this bracket right here. That's the bracket that the motor mount is out here on the end of. So once the torque arm's off, the front motor mount is loose, and the rear motor mount studs have been freed. You can jack up the motor off of the subframe, and the motor mount slid right out. So I'm going to try to stick this thing back in. First, there's quite a bit of muck up on this bracket. Clean it off first. All right. So let's see if it goes in as easy as it came out. It may not, because when it came out, it was missing the bottom stud. Let me see if I can find a good place to put this camera. Let's see. There we go. Let's see what's going on there. All right. Alright, there is a little tab here that is going to go in a hole in the frame. I need to make sure I've got my orientation correct. Alright, so there's the hole in the frame. Oops, get my hand out of the way. There's the hole in the frame right there. That's the stud hole. So the tab is going to go to the back. So you can see where the tab is. Let's see if we can get that back here. Oh, dropping the camera again. Tab in the back. Drops right in the hole. And since we got our motor up in the air, all right, maybe my tab is not aligned. All right, put a little pressure on the motor, see if I can raise it. There we go. Got a little elevation on the motor. And give it a twist and make sure it's in the tab. Feels good. All right, let's see if I can slowly let this down off the motor, or off the jack. Now, I'll tell you what, let's do this. Instead of trying to let that thing down off the jack and hope the stud is aligned, how about we lift that thing up in the air a little bit. And get that stud started. Well, I can't get to it. Tell you what, let's just shim up the bottom. How about that? Get the stud in position and shim that up. Now, if that plastic breaks, I'm not so worried about it. Let's try to let that motor down slow. Ooh. All right, all the way. Top stud will not come out yet. Now, get our tab aligned properly in the frame, and we should be able to go down now. And there we go. Coming right down on the mount like we want. All right. Just a matter of putting her all back together now.